We're going to talk about missions tonight, and I want you guys to give these people your good, undivided attention tonight, because we have been talking a lot about the call on Jesus in our lives, what Jesus' significance is, the life of Christ, what that means for us in the world. You've been hearing from our pulpit as well, just like the state of humanity, right? We had an opportunity to hear about folks who are from folks who communicate and engage with folks in the Mormon community, folks in the Muslim community, right? We've been talking about all these things. So we want to start looking at opportunities we have next year to serve in missions. So we're going to talk about 3 different potential opportunities tonight. We're going to send these out to parents as well, start gauging some interest. Primarily, there are going to be some summer opportunities, but we do want to offer an opportunity in the spring as well, which we'll get to here in a minute, over spring break. So we'll talk about that when it comes here in just a minute. So I want you to be listening tonight, and I want you to hear this thing too, as you listen to all this. This does not mean that this is the only missionary work that we do, right? And you guys know that, right? My dad, we haven't talked much about this. My dad came to Christ because basically one of his friends from high school made him his missions project. He wanted my dad to become a Christian. And he spent years, my dad was raised in a home with 0 discussions or engagement about God or church or anything. This guy decided this was his mission field, was to make my dad understand who Jesus was, and he was successful. So that we have a mission field everywhere around us every day, right? That's part of what we talked about here with people even in the Muslim community in our little part of the world. Obviously, we have LDS and Mormon friends, or LDS Mormon friends, right? But tonight we're going to hear about specifically some things to do outside of our country, okay? So that's what we're going to listen to. So our first speaker tonight is going to be Molly McCormick. You might know her as Rowan's mom. And she leads trips, and she's a physician, and she's going to talk about the trips that she led last year to Kenya, and then what she's going to do next year as well, okay? So let's welcome her up.
Okay, we'll see if this works. Okay, this is Gwen. Gwen said her least favorite was the yellow circle candies. Whatever those are. Does anybody know what those are? Yellow circle candies? Lemon? Lemon, okay. So those are the worst, she says. Okay, so like you said, like Kelly said, I am Molly McCormick. I'm a doctor. I am Rowan's mom. Yeah, I can embarrass her right now. And I work with a group called Expansion International, and we do mission trips over in Kenya. And so I want to tell you about our trips. Because we have one coming up in June, and it's a medical trip. You do not have to be medical, and so my hope today is to prove to you that anybody can go on this trip, because we have lots of jobs for people. This is about the size of the trips that we usually have. So they're about 18 to 26 people. The dates for our 2026 group, our 2026 trip is the 13th through the 27th of June. They're usually about 2 weeks long, and it's about, is that better? Okay, just eat the microphone. About $4,500 for the trips. Usually people raise support for them, and they get support through the church sometimes too. But lots and lots of jobs. Like I said, this is a medical trip. So we are going over to partner with our teams that are on the ground over in Kenya already. They're already doing every single day, doing a ton of great work over there. We just come over and partner with them. We are mainly doing a clinic. We're setting up a temporary clinic over there, and the clinics run for about 3 to 4 days. Yeah? Okay, you can go. They run for about 3 to 4 days, and so a lot of the jobs that you guys will be doing will be helping to run the clinic. You guys will be helping in pharmacy. Tilly, where are you? Oh, okay, thanks. Tilly, what were some of the jobs that you did when you went over? Tilly went over 2 years ago, a year ago, I guess.
Yes, I helped in the pharmacy and tell people where to go, and help in triage.
So she was a runner. Pointing people in different directions, and then she worked in triage. So triage is where we took blood pressures, weights, temperatures, that kind of thing. Lots of time holding babies too. Some really, really cute babies over there. So lots of jobs for any age and any background. This year we went and worked over in an orphanage, and the team got to help paint the dorms. So they got to help. They're painting the girls' dorms, and then right next to it was the boys' dorms, and they were painting them blue. And then you get to help out with children's ministry as well. So while the team during the first part of the day, everybody is working in the clinic, and then the second part of the day, children's ministry goes off and they do, Tilly and Rowan, what did you guys do? You kind of did like a vacation Bible school and a puppet show, right? Yeah. I'm gonna keep calling you out. So obviously you can go talk to Tilly about this. You can go talk to Rowan. They've been on the trips with us as well. Rowan's, yeah, right over there. Okay. Hundreds and hundreds of students. Tilly and Rowan, do you remember what was your biggest day of students that you had?
I think once we had 600.
600, yeah. I think you guys had a 700 day, 500 or 600. Okay, so tons of students, and you're sharing the gospel with them, and you put on a puppet show to share the gospel with them. It's so fun. Then you hand out candy and soccer balls and all kinds of fun stuff too. But you definitely, like I said, you get to work in the clinic. So this is Rowan. She's filling out the triage cards because they all had to be numbered. I think those are all the pictures that I had. So anyways, I asked Kelly when they announced it today, I asked Kelly if I could come and talk with you guys, because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, they're doing a medical mission trip. I'm not medical, so I can't go. And that is just not the case. You're so important to be there to help the medical team, but also to be a part of the medical team, which is fun. We have people that are interested in medicine. They will come and they get to work with the doctors. They'll get to see patients with us. I came as a non-medical college student in 2007, and I just have been hooked ever since. And so I've been helping run these trips ever since then. So if you have questions, you can find me, or you can send Kelly a message on, I don't know what, email, right? Interwebs. Okay, so send him a message, and then on the 20th of November, we'll be having a missions, like a question and answer session, so we can talk more about it then if you guys want to come.
Thank you. So again, Mrs. McCormick will be around to answer questions the next couple weeks or whatever. Just you'll see her at church a lot. Obviously, Rowan. Just follow Rowan. She'll find her mom eventually. Eventually, she will. All right, so that's one opportunity that's in June. Another opportunity we want to show you a little bit, a 10-minute video of, is with YWAM. So you guys remember Stephen Deglonsky that graduated last year? He's off in Colorado Springs now with YWAM. Yeah, he's a character. We love Stephen. What's that? And your brother Sam. That's right. Sam is at, I was just going to get to him. I wasn't going to forget him, I promise. He's down in Ensenada, right? In Ensenada, Mexico. So that's an organization that does a lot of different things. And one of the things they do is offer these trips where you can go do a variety of things, VBS, home building, which is what I love. I led a team years ago to Mexico to do this. So this would be an opportunity right now. What we're looking at is for the spring, and this would be more for younger ages, junior high-ish, maybe early high school. A little bit less expensive, a little closer to home. So we're going to watch this video about it, and then again, we're going to send out this information. We just want to get some things in front of you guys. There's just some different ways to serve outside our country, okay? All right, go ahead.
I'm here in northern Baja, Mexico, just a few miles from the U.S. border, and each month thousands of Mexicans move into this area looking for hope and a better life and trying to find work in one of more than 550 foreign factories. They'll make between $10 and $15 a day, and eventually they'll grab some land that they can live on, but they don't really make enough with subsistence wages to be able to afford to build a proper shelter. And that's where Homes of Hope comes in. Homes of Hope comes alongside these families and provides an adequate shelter that they can immediately live in. Youth with a Mission, also known as YWAM, is an international, interdenominational Christian mission started in 1960. We have over 1,000 operating locations in 180 countries with more than 25,000 full-time staff worldwide. Homes of Hope was started in May of 1990 when myself and a few staff from YWAM Los Angeles came down to Tijuana, Mexico to do one house. During the second day of the build, my daughter Andrea, who was 3 and a half at the time, introduced me to another family living next door in an old abandoned bus. She said, "Daddy, are you going to build a house for the bus people too?" That question filled me with compassion, and we came back and built them a house. Over that next year, we were able to do additional 12 homes for the poor, and it took us 10 years to do the first 1,000 homes, only 4 years to do the next 1,000, and with our plan in place, we hope to be able to do 1,000 homes every 2 years globally. Homes of Hope is now expanded to multiple nations all over the earth, and the foundation for Homes of Hope comes from Isaiah 58:7, and it says, "This is true religion. This is true fasting, to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter." Each year, we host over 5,000 participants in our Mission Adventures and Homes of Hope program, and we also train more than 200 students in our University of the Nations courses and seminars.
One of the most frequent questions we get asked is, how do you determine which family gets a home? We consider several factors when determining which families receive our help. One of the first factors we look at is their financial situation. What is their income level every month? The next factor we look at is their family size. We also do a site visit to determine if their current structure is in need of replacement. We sit down with each family and do a very extensive interview. After this process, we are able to come to a determination of which are truly the neediest families, and those are the families that get selected for a Home of Hope. You may be asking yourself, why does so much of the country look so unfinished? Imagine if you had to pay cash for everything you own, including your home. In Mexico, the poor cannot afford home loans, so they can only build a little bit at a time. It's easy to make false assumptions about somebody else's culture, so take the time to ask lots of questions. It's important to work hard to get the structure up, but it's also important to build a relationship with your building team and the family receiving the home. On each build, there's a translator dedicated to helping you connect with the family. The culture of Mexico is conservative, so please wear masks. Drinking are prohibited at the job site, at the YWAM Center, and in the YWAM vehicles. YWAM is not responsible for lost, stolen, or damaged personal items, so please use good judgment when bringing valuables to the build site. Don't forget to bring your sunscreen, a long-sleeve shirt, and a hat for shade. Over the course of a long day on the job site, you could experience a variety of weather, so we recommend bringing layers of clothing. YWAM will provide clean drinking water and lunch every day on the site. Porta potties are also provided for you. Safety is always our #1 priority, especially on the job site. Remember to be safe and look out for others around you. Safety glasses are provided for everyone, and it's very important to wear them on the job site. No one under the age of 16 is allowed to use the power tools without adult supervision. No one under the age of 12 is allowed on the roof. When working on the roof, make sure tools, ladders, or electrical equipment are secured. Your elected safety manager is responsible for overall safety at the build site. Look for the bright yellow safety jacket. In case of emergency, see your building foreman or elected safety manager for information to get to the nearest hospital. Emergency instructions are always kept on site. You'll find lots of stray dogs and cats in Mexico, and for your safety, we ask that you don't feed or play with the animals. By the time you get to the job site, the house's concrete foundation will already be laid, dried, and ready to support the structure. Before we begin building, we'll take a moment to say a group prayer for safety and to bless the house for the family. We provide all the tools and supplies you'll need to complete the house, along with a Homes of Hope build team, including an A builder, B builder, host, and translator to guide you along the way. The A builder will break you up into various teams at the start of the building process. A generator powers electricity while on the build site. You'll find a large toolbox with protective gloves, hammers, nail aprons, extension cords, a handsaw, and handheld power tools. For small tools like pencils, box cutters, extra safety glasses, speed squares, and a hammer stapler, look in the small utility box. Before swinging your hammer, make sure you use the right kind of nail for the job you're doing. In the paint box, you'll find roller handles, paint pans, paint brushes, caulking for the windows, and rags to use for cleanup. The team will be led up by your A builder. The walls are framed and assembled on top of the concrete slab using 2x4s. Each home will be wired throughout for electricity and will include 3 windows and a door. Sheetrock, otherwise known as drywall, is installed as the interior wall. Be careful when pounding nails into the soft drywall, as it can easily break or dent. There's a right and a wrong way your finished nails should look. Trusses are used to support the roof. The roof team will be led by your B builder. Roof sheeting has no grooves and should be painted on the smooth side. Once the roof sheeting has been installed, nail down a layer of roofing paper and finish off the roof with the 3-tab shingles. Typically, each house is painted in 2 or 3 different colors. The paint crew will be led by one of our YWAM staff, and they will verify that each piece is being painted the correct color. Upon completion of the new home, the keys will be passed around the circle during a house dedication ceremony. Each person will have an opportunity to share their experience with the group and the family before they enter the home for the first time.
The house you're about to build is going to bring real transformation into this family's life in 5 key areas. The first is economic. It would take this family up to 10 years to replicate what you're giving them in just these couple of days. The second area is education. Children who come back to a home are better learners, and they're 3 times more likely to stay in school and go 2 years longer. The third area is health. Just by putting in a concrete floor, you reduce recurring respiratory problems, anemia, and diarrhea, and provide better health for the family. The fourth area is transformed thinking. Part of poverty is an inability to properly perceive your own future. And when you give a family a home, it helps break the cycle of poverty in 1 generation over that family's life. The fifth area of benefit is spiritual impact. We love to demonstrate the love of God to every family that gets a home. We want them to know God loves them and has a wonderful plan for their life. In the early years of Homes of Hope, somebody introduced me to the starfish story, and it kind of stuck in our culture. And the story goes like this. During a large storm, thousands of starfish were washed high up onto the beach with no way to get back in the water. Well, a young boy saw this circumstance and started throwing the starfish back in the water one at a time. Somebody came up and asked the young boy, "What are you doing? You're never going to get all these starfish back in the water." And the young boy picked up another starfish, threw it back in the water, and said, "I made a difference to that one." And that's how I feel about poverty and Homes of Hope. We're not going to be able to help every family that needs a home, but I want to assure you that the family you're helping over the next few days will matter. And I want to thank you for coming and joining us and making a difference, one family at a time.
You can clap, yeah, that's good. I want to tell you guys, it's one of the coolest things I've ever done was...
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. One of the coolest things I've ever done was do this with the team, and so I really hope that we have some interest in doing it. It's not the only thing you do on this trip. You also do a VBS time, and there's some time even for evangelism, kind of depending on the way the trip is set up. And I will tell you, for any of you that know me, my son, Chris, Paul, even I could be part of a team that could build a house in a week. That's how easy it is to do, because I'm one of the least mechanically inclined people in the world. So it's amazing. They can really do it. So really great. One other thing before I have our last missions group come up, I just really want to stress the importance that this and the impact that this can have. Like, I love that piece right there. And when we did it probably 12 years ago now, it was great to just be able to see the family and actually have there be tangible impact. And you're going to hear more about that in a few minutes as well. But just to see people actually being affected. When I was 12 years old, my parents went through a very, very difficult financial time. The economy in Boise was pretty bad. My dad was a teacher. Pay was terrible. There weren't any jobs. He was trying to work 2 jobs and subbing during the day and working at night. And we got to Christmas, man, and we just knew we weren't gonna be able to really celebrate anything. Even food was gonna be hard, much less gifts or anything. And there was what they call a commissary at the church that we didn't even attend, but we used to attend it. And they showed up one night. We know it was them when we figured it out later. But anyway, there was a knock on our doorstep, and there was a big box, and there were just a bunch of gifts in there and some food to have a real proper Christmas dinner. And it was one of the most memorable Christmases we had as a kid. And it made a huge impact. And that was something that always stuck in my head the rest of my life to this point, right? So almost 40 years later, what a big difference that made in our minds, and just honestly, just a tangible expression of God's love for others, right? And it's easy to forget that there are people right around us too that can have that same, we have that same opportunity to impact, and we're going to be trying to come up with some of those opportunities as well. So let's take 30 seconds. I want you to stand up, stretch a little bit, move around for a second, and then we're going to have our last speaker. Don't go anywhere. Don't run around. Just get up, stretch for a second, and we're going to get set up. All right. Robin Mayoka and her family, her husband Chris, and their kids, Hannah, the other 3, just kidding, Hannah, Jeremiah, Kiki, and Phoebe are just one of my favorite families ever in the whole world. I've had lots of different ways to interact with them and engage with them, and could tell stories forever, but as Hannah knows, I'd probably start crying at some point, so I'm not going to. So bottom line is, one of the things, again, this last one we heard, right, this is an organization that's a huge organization, YWAM, right, and they had a lot of resources. They went and started this thing, and now it's gone global, and it's fantastic, and I love what they do, and that's why we're happy that Sam and Stephen are off working for them. Before that, right, you heard Dr. McCormick, right, just like kind of connected with some other people through Expansion International. That's also a big organization that's really, built up over the years and gotten really big. Robin's story is so great because it's literally a conversation between her and one of her friends who's in this room tonight. And this is how her whole ministry got started 12 years ago. Is that right? 14 years ago. And you're going to just you won't believe it when you hear it. So she's going to come talk here. Her ministry is called Bread for Life. And I want you to give her a big welcome as she comes up.
Okay, hello, thank you. Kelly, that's such a great opportunity. Thank you so much for having me, having our family. I'm never surprised at what the Lord is doing. constantly at work. And I think tonight what I want to do is just kind of give you a really good example and encourage your heart at how amazing, how awesome, how big our God is. If he could use me, he can use you. And so I want to take you, excuse me, like I said, like Kelly said, 14 years, it's been a journey. But it started when I least expected anything. I thought my walk with the Lord was going really great, and I having babies, being a wife, raising my family, and I didn't realize that there was a very important piece of my faith that was missing. And it was actually during a casual lunch meeting with my husband and our two best friends, Becca and Larry. Just wave your hands real quick so I can embarrass you. So just as we were sitting and eating, sorry, my husband says I say all the time, so now it's all I hear when I speak. But we were having lunch, in a conversation, the topic of adoption and orphans came up, and Becca was sharing just very clearly and profoundly. She said, Robin, as Christians, we are commanded to care for the orphan and the widow. It's not an option, it's a command. And at that very moment, you can say, I had ears to hear and eyes to see for the first time that something that is so powerful and important and near and dear to the Lord's heart and a command for his people, I was doing nothing. It wasn't on my radar. It's not that I didn't want to. I just was so caught up in my own world that it hit me like a ton of bricks that I was not doing anything for the orphan or the widow. So fast forward 8 months, I made my life miserable because I knew that I needed to do something. I didn't know what that was. And I just went into a season of turmoil, if you will, working out my salvation with fear and trembling. Lord, what does this look like for me as a mom with little children at home? Do we adopt? I drove my husband nuts for months thinking we have to adopt these children. And it was just a really precious time in my spiritual walk, but a very scary one because I was wrestling and fighting with the Lord. And so during this time also, just through prayer and everything, I was just asking the Lord, just what is it? And I really thought I needed to do something no one's ever heard of before, something that no one's ever thought of. And it just needed to be this huge, impactful thing that I needed to do. And I was clouding the vision and not able to hear what the Lord was saying. And I'm not weird, but the Lord spoke to me very clearly one day. I was walking from my kitchen into my living room, and the Lord said, just bake bread. And I've grown up with my mom's pumpkin bread, and I would make it for all my mom friends. We'd come over and have play dates, and I would bake up pumpkin bread, just simple pumpkin bread. And everyone loved it, and it was always just fun to eat. And so the Lord just said, just bake pumpkin bread, use it as a vehicle to get in front of people and share what I've done in your heart. That's all you have to do. And I was like, wow, really? And then, in another wonderful voice of the Holy Spirit, it was just given to me, your bread will be bread for life. And the way that you could bake this bread and raise awareness, and I had no idea that we would even go to where we are 14 years later, but I would raise awareness, and through my bread, I could care for these orphans and these widows. And he just said, and your ministry will be bread for life, or you just call your bread for life. And so everything clicked at that moment, and I got super excited, and I called my pastor, and I just said, hey, I know might sound crazy, but here's what's going on. And that Sunday, he gave me the pulpit to stand and share in front of my church, and I baked 22 loaves of bread, just like this. Christopher, my little boy, was just a tiny little boy standing in front of my table, and I stood in front of people trembling, but with a powerful message that we as a church, we as Christians, we're called to care for the orphan and the widow. And here's how I'm going to do this. And I said, this bread is for donation only, but if you'd like to take a loaf of bread and donate, your money will go towards, okay, and I kind of left this part out, but in this 8 months of trying to figure out what I was to do, I was given different books to read and different blogs. And there was a blog in Uganda, and I followed this lady, and she would write about these children being left in the slum, literally 18-month-old children dropped off in the slum and in hopes of a better life. And the mom puts them out of the car and drives away. And as a mom, I was like, how could you feel that that would be a better life for them? So I was following some stories in Uganda, and I thought, I'm going to send whatever money we raise off this table of bread to an orphanage in Uganda. And that's what we did. So I baked 22 loaves of bread. We raised $647, and I wired that money to an orphanage in Uganda. And a month or so later, I got a wonderful message back, an email saying we paid their electricity bill, we bought diapers, we did medical, like all this stuff. In Uganda, people survive off $1 a day. So it's very different. And so and the church received my message so well, and it was just really, really exciting to see how bread was able to make such a big difference. So my first table was, like I said, $648. And then in 6 months, I continued to bake bread and raise money. And then year to date, we are pushing close to $1 million of donations that we've raised off pumpkin bread. So the Lord has really used this testimony to show us, my family, me, and thousands of other people what you can do when you just are sensitive to the word of the Lord, take his commandments very seriously, but don't make them difficult. It's not hard. And so, so this journey, again, it's 14 years. I can stand here and tell you stories after stories, but in 2012, I took my first trip to Uganda, and I took a ton of cash over there because I was baking a lot of bread and raising a lot of money. We paid medical bills for boys that were literally dying in the slum of malaria, just all kinds of diseases, open wounds on their legs because of police and getting beat up. I mean, it was awful. And so we just started to care and meet urgent needs. And then we started to support feeding programs. And just, as you continue to make trips over there, you learn different ministry opportunities. And then in 2014, we drilled a well at an orphanage home in a village that served over 2,000 people. So it was just like, and for us, $20,000 it's a lot of money, but it's not that much money. And for $20,000, we got a company over there to do a freshwater well that served 2,000 people. It's just mind-blowing what we're able to do. Becca, would you mind bringing me my water? Sorry. Thank you. So during my trips over there, sorry, this is awful. During my trips over there in 2014, I had one of the ministry leaders over there ask me if I've ever thought of coming there and teaching the women how to bake bread. And I thought he was crazy because I'm only there 2 weeks out of the year, once a year. And he said, just pray about it. And I said, okay, I will pray about it. And talking with my husband and everything, he said, why don't you go over there and not only teach them how to bake bread, but build a bakery? And I just thought, well, that's crazy. How could we ever do that? Well, in 2016, we opened our first bakery at a school right outside of Kampala. This school it has over 500 students and over 100 staff. So to this date, that bakery is completely functioning, self-sustained, and has been feeding children fresh bread every school morning. Before the bakery, they just had one little, it's like a cup of, it reminds me of cream of wheat. It's like a posho, and that was their breakfast. And now they get their posho and a loaf of bread every morning. And when we serve these kids this bread, some of them have never seen bread before. So they take the loaf or the bun and they hide it and they put it behind their back, or they pretend they didn't get one because they want another one. But it's just precious. And so that really showed us here in the States, wow, look at what we can do. Look at the impact that we can have. And this just really opened our eyes. And so we kept moving on. And in 2018, we opened up our second bakery. This is connected to a women's home where they rescue women out of the slum and out of prostitution, and teach them a skill. So it's part of like a transitional home for women. This bakery just recently got into the marketplace. They have 2 market accounts. They have their own branding. They do banquets, all kinds of stuff. And what's really neat is that these bakeries are providing employment for these people, for these men and women. It's teaching them a life skill that they've never had before. They've never had an opportunity. So that's bakery number 2. And then in 2019, we opened up our third bakery in Boozy, which is really neat because when I came to this church back in 2018, before we built the bakery, the pastor and his wife shared with me specifically how they had been praying for a bakery for 2 years. So they also have an empowerment center for young boys and girls that don't have an opportunity to go to school. And their bakery turned into a business. How many employees? 12 dedicated employees. I think it's up to 15 now. They have a business manager. They're in the market in 2 different ends of Kampala's town. And so just to see the impact that they've had in their community, they do home visits with widows and older men and women who can't leave their home. They will go and they will pray with them and disciple them and feed them bread on a weekly basis. So this is one of near and dear to my heart because the pastor's amazing. And the more I do this, the more these Ugandans become part of my family. They're part of my daily threads on my phone through prayer requests and praise reports. And so bakery number 3 is truly it's just so neat to see what can happen when all we do is just do something so simple here. It's just so profound how the Lord takes control of that. And then our 4th bakery, so we have 4 operating bakeries. This is actually in a village called Mpigi, and when I pulled up to it for the very first time, it was a beautiful setting on a hill, and really nothing left. They had a stick mud hut that they called church. No electricity, no running water, obviously no bakery or anything like that. So the first year what we did is we finished their church for them. We drilled a well and we supplied electricity to them. And this hill is very special because years ago it was used for witchcraft and Satan worship and child sacrifice, which is just awful. But this pastor believed so much in the village and the people that he continuously prayed over the land and with his people that life would come and that it would be a community. And so here we come, Bread for Life, just throwing out tables every once in a while and raising awareness that there's this village, Mpigi, that wants nothing more than to resurrect that land for the glory of God. And so within a year, we were able to do that, and we gave them a bakery. So it's almost like just resurrecting a little village that was once used for evil. God has now restored that for his glory. And in the same, on the same property, we built them an empowerment center as well. So that's the empowerment center just off to the side. They do hairdressing and sewing, and now they do baking. And so these men and women take 8-week courses, they get a certificate, and then they can go out and get a job, something that they were not able to do before. Just really quick, a couple more things. Last year, we opened our first coffee and honey processing center. In 2016, we started beekeeping. Beekeeping. We trained 20 local farmers how to beekeep. And now they're professional beekeepers, but they didn't have the means or the resources to harvest their honey in a safe, secured environment. And coffee is also something else that some of these ministries and these farmers grow. Those are two of the very few items that will actually take families out of poverty. So high quality coffee and high quality honey is very important to these farmers. So we have partnered with a ministry out there that educates and trains, to this day, over 700 local farmers that will use this facility that we built last year. And we bought all the high-end equipment for them to be able to truly have great quality in their coffee and honey. And then, so what's next for Bread for Life? I'm just hopefully painting a very quick picture for you guys, a little story of how it got started, what the Lord has been doing in the last 14 years. We also run a sponsorship program since 2016. We've had over 100 children come through our sponsorship. And it's literally $50 a month. No money comes out for my costs or anything. We take care of all of that. So every penny that comes in goes right back out, where there's no overhead. There's no, there's just no administration fees or anything like that. So our sponsorship has been very successful, and my friend Julie here has taken over it, and she'll share about that in a minute. And then what's next, Lord willing, if any one of you all care to join us on our next trip, we're going to be opening our 5th bakery in the slum, which is truly an answer to prayer for me, because it's the slum that really broke my heart when I went in 2012. I couldn't fathom what I was seeing. I couldn't understand the smells. I couldn't understand that this is where people lived. And so to be able to now say that Bread for Life is going to be in the slum, connected to a wonderful church, you just can't put God in a box. You just never. Yeah, I'm just along for the ride on the coattails of the Lord. So that's super exciting. And then just, my first trip was in 2012. I co-led 3 teams. I've taken 5 of my own teams, and I've gone 4 times by myself, just business trips, trying to figure out where our next bakery is going to be. So I think this coming up year, since 2012, will be my 15th trip over there. And I love it. It's another family. So for about 5 minutes, I want to just play a video for you guys, just to show you what a team looks like, what we do. We do everything from the feeding program in the slum to the transitional home where these boys are rescued out of, given a second chance of life. There's a girls' home. We'll be at the school serving bread. We have some other ministries that we do, but this is a working team. One of my slides, and my husband said this, it's not ministry tourism. We get our feet dirty, we're hands in the dirt, feet on the ground, involved in these kids' lives for 2 weeks, and it's really impactful. So this particular team this year, the Lord just raised up all women, but it's not always like that. We have grown men coming. We have husbands, wives, your ages. It's for everybody, but this particular team on this year was just all women, and it was fun. So I'll let Kelly play that.
They say this mountain can't be moved. They
Yeah, as you can, we have a lot of fun on our teams. It's very life-changing. I've got 3 of my team members over here that have traveled. They're going to share real quick, but in Uganda, there's a lot of celebration when we can come alongside them and be part of their success. And part of it is they're some of the smartest, hardworking people I have ever met in my life. They just lack the means of being able to get started. So Bread for Life doesn't go over there and dictate any bakeries or business operations. We just build them the building. We provide the basic needs that they need. We support them for 1 year, and we turn around and we walk away. And we watch them blossom and flourish into growing communities and just continuously saving children and young adults from the streets and empowering families, discipling them, everything. It is wrapped up into just a life-changing event. So our teams, like I said, we touched on, we have medical days too. What can you expect? I mean, these are all things that we can talk about on an individual level and stuff like that. But I've been on a lot of teams. I've not met one person that has ever said, that was good, that was good, but I'm cool now, like I don't want to go back or anything. My daughter's been 4 times. This was Julie's first trip. It's life-changing. And so I really encourage you all to pray about an opportunity like this, because I think every single person, every body needs an experience like this at one point or another in your life. And when you're young, it's really neat, because if you go with a willing heart and an open heart to what the Lord has for you, the sky is the limit, because there's so much work that needs to get done. And James 1:27, this is the foundation of our religion. This is what the Lord expects us to do, which is encouraging. It's fun stuff. Yeah, so who can come on our trips? You don't have to be a singer. You don't have to be I have no skills. I mean, they think I'm like the bread baker. Like, I've learned more about bread baking from them than I know myself. So there's no special skill. You don't have to do anything except just really have an open and willing heart to serve the people of Uganda and serve them through the Lord, through the power of the Lord. Okay, so I will have Hannah and Julie come up. Julie now takes over my sponsorship program. She went this last summer, never been, was kind of maybe thinking I'm a little bit crazy, like what is this woman doing with this ministry? And she ended up coming along, and I think it's changed her life, because when she was there, she said, how can I be involved? What do you need? How can I can't go home and not do anything. So do you want to share? Yeah. This is Julie Johnson.
Hi. Can you hear me? So I'm Julie, and my daughter Addie is Hannah's best friend. And she came home one day, and she'd been talking about going to Uganda for years, and we were like, my husband and I were like, whatever, that sounds nice. And then one day she came home about 18 months ago, and she said, I need to go to Uganda. And we were like, oh, shoot, okay. And our initial response was fear. We didn't know anything about Africa. We were fearful. And then we realized one of us was going to have to go, because we couldn't let her go by herself and die there. And we were so fearful. And then we started praying about it, and the Lord took away the fear and gave us excitement for it. And I was the one who got to go. And it is life-changing. I don't know how many of you right now are thinking, oh, missions trip sounds fun, or this is what I'm feeling called to do. But I would encourage you to pray about it, because it's life-changing. And the Bible truly, I remember before we went over, Robin said the Bible comes alive in a whole new way, and it really did. before we even decided to go, I did a study on Habakkuk, and I was like, why am I studying this book? And when I was over there, it truly became just alive to me and so clear. I don't know, God just speaks to you in a completely different way when you're there. And the kingdom of God becomes so tangible. You know, we live in our little safe city, and it's comfy and predictable. And when you go there, it feels so good not to feel comfortable and predictable, and just to see God work. And so when we went over, I'm one that I'm kind of a picky eater, and I like my comfy bed. And to go there and to think about not having my nice American amenities I wasn't really looking forward to that part of it. And it was wonderful. I mean, God just took care of all of us, and it was just amazing. So if you're thinking about this, if you think you might be interested in Uganda, I encourage you to grab a loaf of bread. We've got a little flyer in our loaf that kind of talks about it, pray about it. And if you're not wanting to go to Uganda, maybe just sponsoring a child or sponsoring it with a friend, and then getting kind of plugged in that way, then we'll send you information, and maybe one day you'll go to Uganda, but it will change your life in the most amazing way. And so that's my little plug. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all. So our trips are roughly 2 weeks. We usually go second or third week of July into the first week of August. It's $3,850. That includes airfare, everything that you see up there. The only thing it does not include is souvenirs and extra spending money. We do a fun day in Jinja. I take the team out on a boat on the Nile River. We have a fun shopping day. So there's some very good lighthearted moments on a very heavy trip. But like Julie was saying, and I'll close with this, something that is so strange, you would not think that you would always feel very safe in a third world country, in a place where 90% of people really don't speak your language. My days and my weeks in Uganda are times that are so precious, and my intimacy with the Lord is so incredible, because we don't have the comforts there that we have here. Over there, they truly work for their bread for that day. They don't have refrigerators in their home where they could put their leftovers from a nice meal. They get up and they go to work so they can feed their families that night. But their faith is so profound, and they're so solid, and there's no wavering in them, and it's so convicting. So to feel closer to the Lord there, and to be closer to the Lord there is something that I struggle with, But if I could just give like one word of wisdom or a word of encouragement, those are my 2 children over there. I have 2 other children that are in line to come. I would never take my children anywhere where I thought it was unsafe or that it's scary, and it's scary anywhere. But Uganda is very special. The people there, our team that meets us at the airport never leaves our side. It's really just a beautiful opportunity. So like we said, there's a ton of bread out in the lobby out there. Please take 2 loaves or 1 minimum. Share with your family, share with friends. Eat the bread, enjoy it, and just see how the Lord has used something so simple to really grow his kingdom. And we get to be a part of it, and it's really an honor. So I'll be around if you have any questions. Our newsletter is in there, but please take some bread home with you.
I know, so you guys are all thinking, if God can do that with bread, imagine what he could do with my chocolate chip cookies. I know that's what you're all thinking. That's what you're all thinking. In all seriousness, I really want you guys to take the opportunity to talk to to Robin and Julie, and Hannah and Kiki love to talk. So the two that were standing over here with all the hair, make sure you talk to them. Ask them lots of questions about their trip. Just find out if there's any of this sparked any interest in you at all. And also Rowan and Tilly. Will you guys just raise your hands real quick so people know who you are, just to make sure they know? Okay. So talk to Rowan and Tilly about their trip as well. We just really want to, like I said, spark some interest and some desire in you guys. If there's anything you saw tonight that made you go, boy, that's something I'd really like to do. Again, we're going to provide some other local opportunities as well. We're working with our missions team. We have an Afghani pastor here in town who has opportunities within his community to help, that we can't have him on TV or video or anything like that for a number of reasons, but we're working with him to come up with opportunities for us to serve their community as well in different ways. And it just looks a lot of different ways. It takes on all different shapes and forms, and we just want to be open to that and provide those opportunities. So if there's anything here that jumped out at you, first of all, I'd encourage you to talk to those people. Second, if you're here and you're an adult and you've gone on a mission trip before, would you raise your hand? Anybody else? Yeah. Okay, so look at all these people in this room that have gone on a mission trip. So my homework for you guys tonight, if you're a young person who hasn't gone on a mission trip, I want you to go talk to one of those people that just raised their hand tonight and just ask them about what they did, where they went, what it was like, whether they would do it again, something they wish they would have done, maybe a mission trip they missed out on. So just take advantage of that time. Let's really try to focus on that tonight. Couple more things. There is a lot of bread out there, and there's also a lot of good snacks out there, so make sure that you enjoy those. Just suffer by eating tonight. If you could, suffer with us. Prayer requests, okay? That was not an empty thing that Mrs. Anderson talked about. If you have a prayer request that you want our prayer team to pray for and your leaders to pray for, this will be sitting right up here on stage. And then I'm going to be grabbing my calendar out of my office. I forgot to bring it out. If you've got games, concerts, I got to go to a concert last week and some swimming last week, and a basketball game, so I got to do a bunch of stuff last week. We want to know when those things are so we can come watch you guys and engage, okay? Let me pray for us, and then, like I said, please take advantage of the opportunity to talk to people about their experience and don't just run off and forget about it. Take a few minutes if you would. Let's pray. God, we're so grateful for who you are, grateful for these opportunities. Thank you for the heart of these people that spoke to us tonight, the videos that we watched, the opportunity and the challenge, honestly, of missions, and the call that you've placed on us to go into the world and preach the gospel and to love the orphans and widows, love our neighbor, all the things that we sometimes want to skip over and not think about too much. I pray that those would just be impressed upon our heart tonight. Thank you for the McCormicks, the Myokas, and just thank you for their faithfulness to your call in their lives. Pray that you would bless them and continue to provide opportunities for them. And just as you asked us to do, you asked your disciples to pray for laborers to go collect the harvest, God. We know that you have hearts and souls that you want to harvest and bring to your kingdom. So help us be faithful to that and responsive to the call when you call us and when the Spirit leads. Let me say this in your name. Amen. Feels fitting. Jackson, you want to get us started?